level, at my level, there's no political involvement whatsoever.
But there is, I mean, the governor actually spoke quite harshly about the Public Integrity Commission in the wake of the Yankees thing, but before that even, actually, right after, in the wake of the IG's report that was harshly critical, said that the Public Integrity Commission had inappropriately had contact with the second floor during the Tree Brigade investigation, and then said that the whole thing should be blown up, more or less, that everybody should be resigned. So that doesn't have any impact on the way that the commissioners do their job when they investigate the governor? On
the day that the governor, the IG's report came out, which is what we're referring to, the governor did another thing, which is he appointed Michael Chikaski to be the new chair of the commission, and said quite rightly that he was very capable to run the commission, and I think time has proven that to be true. Mr. Chikaski took about a month or 5 weeks, looked at the record of the IG investigation, and other matters, and he issued a public statement, a detailed public statement, in which we essentially repudiated the IG's statement. And so after a thoughtful reflection by someone who the governor and others thought was a highly capable and impartial person, he came to that conclusion. And since then, I haven't heard the governor repeat those remarks.
Well, no, he's been focused on the budget largely. I think the Public Integrity Commission, which is probably a good thing because you guys are sort of living on borrowed time. Do you not get the feeling that that's the case? I mean, there's been legislation to try and get rid of you. There's been legislation to get rid of you. Re-establish two separate bodies for a lobbying commission and an ethics commission, which is the way that it was before Eliot Spitzer combined them, and maybe beef up the campaign finance oversight of the State Board of Elections. I mean,
virtually every editorial board in the state urged the governor to veto that bill, which he ultimately did. The New York City Bar Association, which is a well-respected independent group, which took a look at the issue, urged the governor to veto that bill. Many other responsible and neutral parties urged the governor to veto that bill because it wasn't a good bill. It didn't advance the ball on ethics. The legislature more recently has gone back and done something very interesting, which is to look not at the structure, because the issue is not the structure, and not at the commissioners, because that's not the issue either, but to look at the laws that we have to deal with, the laws that we enforce, the penalties for those laws, and begun to try to make improvements there. There's a couple of bills pending that do that kind of thing, and that really is the way to address these problems. The other issue, was not an improvement at all.
Do you believe that the structure as it is currently, which is sort of this uber ethics oversight lobbying watchdog, will continue under the next governor's tenure?
You've been around Albany longer than I have, but I've been around long enough to know that speculating on that kind of stuff is a fool's errand. I have no idea what's going to happen when a new governor comes into office on January 1st. I know that it makes sense, it's working well, and I think that someone independent and smart looking at these issues would see that if given an opportunity to explain it to them. You know, there's been some talk about whether the jurisdiction should be broadened to include the legislature as well, which is how most states do it, and I think makes sense, and we'll have to see how it plays out.
Well, we will indeed, but I want to thank you in the meantime for joining me. Barry Ginsberg, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.